Hi, good evening, and welcome to the Magic Show. Smart and lazy. Okay, I think today we are not expecting too many people being Dashera. I was told to take sorry, my video and audio is misbehaving, but so shall we get started with the show? We have a small program today. Certain tricks in Excel which we need to know to make our lives simple and faster and more productive as usual. So let's get started. I will share my Excel screen. Are you able to see?
Yes.
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 Okay, so this is a very simple worksheet. Both the sides look same, but they are not. Let us see what we do to center a particular cell across several cells. How do you do this? Any thoughts on this?
Merge the cell, merge and center.
Yeah. So merge and center is the easiest way to do it. There is a merge and center on top, which is the easiest thing to do, and it becomes almost like routine. Yeah. So what you do is you will type 2020. You will click on merge and center. So let me try again to do the same thing. I'll type 2020. Okay. Then I want it across 1, 2, 3 row, 3 columns. So I'll drag it and say merge and center, right? And then I'll get it in the center. Now, this is very simple, but again, there are issues. For example, now, if I want to take a total of 2020, I will just drag it. Now what happens? Are you seeing what happens when I do a merge and center? This is the problem I face. Have you ever faced this problem?
Yes.
So you get into a major chaos like this.
Yeah.
And therefore you can never take the totals out here if you have done merge and center. So there is an alternate to this. Okay. So instead of doing merge and center, what you should do is I'll just undo this unmerged cells. So I'll come back here. I will right click and go to format cells. When I go to format cells, I have this option in alignment, horizontal alignment. There is an option called center across selection. If I do this, I get the same effect. You will see the cell in the center of whatever columns we have chosen. But the beauty is, I have done it in this. So the beauty is if I start taking totals, I can go straight. See here what was happening. If I wanted to take a total, it was splitting because this cell was merge and center. Whereas this cell is not merge and center. This cell is taken as, suppose I write west out here. And I want it across these 3 cells. I'll right click, go to formatting, go to horizontal formatting and say center across selection. When I say center across selection, it puts it in the center. It gives me the same effect in terms of visual impact, but I can still take this total. Are we clear on this? Have you faced this earlier? Like whenever you go like this and then suddenly you find that typically what happens in Excel is if you have a contiguous list of cells, it is very easy to manipulate. If you have all these breaks and then there is a line break and all, this is not the best way of organizing it. But for whatever reason, if you want to do it like this, then use this formatting option, right click, format cells, center across selection. Okay.
Hmm.
Any questions here? Are we okay on this?
Yes,
Yes, thanks. Thank you.
yes.
So this is a very simple way of doing. Now see, if you notice, this text that we have written is in this cell. Here there is nothing. So if I want to delete it, I cannot delete it from here. If I press delete, nothing is happening. If I press delete here, this is going because I had selected the first cell and put the values there. So this is something very simple, which we should remember because sometimes we get stuck. Suddenly this whole thing goes for a toss.
Hmm.
The second thing that we need to see is when we use dates. Now, normally dates in Excel are automatically understood. Like if you type, suppose we type today's date as 15th October 2021. Excel automatically converts it into a date. But suppose you have written a date in text like this. So I say October 15, 2021. What happens? Is this a date or is this a text?
Date.
This is a date.
Yeah.
Excel has not understood this properly. So if I want to find out the difference between two dates, for example, if I want to find out the difference between equal to this minus this, what happens? It is not a value and therefore both are actually text and therefore you cannot do any manipulation on the dates. Normally dates function is very, very powerful in Excel because you can do manipulation on the dates. Now, how Excel stores dates? Anybody knows how Excel stores dates internally?
No clue.
Yeah. It stores.
Is this something called a Julian number? No.
It is a Julian date, yeah. But Excel stores dates as numbers always. Okay, so whatever the date you write and it is identified as a date, this is not identified as a date. So this is only text. This entire column is just text. I'll show you the difference between the text and the dates. For example, now I write here 15th October 21 and now I say equal to this minus this, you get a number. So this is 40 days difference between the two dates. You could do this with any dates. You could add, minus. In fact, date also it can be extended to time also, hours and minutes. But let us not get into that for the time being. So Excel by itself, suppose the cell is not a date cell, it is just a number cell. So Excel stores 0101 1900. Okay, this is taken as a date, but if I format this as a number, so 1st of January 1900 is taken as 1 and it starts counting from there. So if I take 1st January 2000, what would you expect? What number would you expect here?
Didn't get your question.
365.
365 into 100. You will have to add 100 years, no?
Oh,
This was originally, you got the idea? It was originally, I'll explain to you again. So if I take it as a number or a general format and not a, this is so many days from 1st of January 1900.
oh,
Okay.
Okay.
So if I go to 2021, it will be 1st January 2021. If I again convert this into a general format, from 1st January 2000 to 1st January 2021, it is so many days. So I can say equal to, this is why I can say this equal to minus this is so many days since 1st January 2000. Are we getting this?
Yep.
So this is 1st January 1900 and all the date calculations start from there. Okay. But now if it is as text, you can't do any calculation. So suppose you want to figure out interest between two dates or number of days between two dates. Here you can't do it. Here you can do it. So I just wanted to demonstrate that if you write a date, and sometimes even Excel will not recognize this as a date. So you just say right click, you go to format cells and say this is a date format. Here it is automatically taken. Otherwise, normally you will expect it to. Now, how do I write this as a date and not as a text? This is all text just now. Now, date format can be written in many ways. So suppose I say, I want to write it the American way. So I say format cells, I go to date and see the types of formats I have. Okay, this is DD, YY. If I want to do YYY, DD, I can put it like this. Or I want to do again a full month, 14 March. Okay. Or I want to write the day and date. Everything I can do with dates. So I can write it like this also. Now I still am not able to get my format for the American friends. Here I want it like this. But because I have taken my location as English India, it is showing me like this. But suppose I take my location as English USA or English United States. Then see what happens. It gives me in this format. So I can still write it like this, but now these dates are, you can operate on these dates because these are actual dates. And behind them is a number that is for January 15, 2020, it is number of days from 1st January 1900. Okay, it's very simple. And therefore, if I take difference between any two dates, it is just subtracting the numbers from one from the other. So if I say this equal to this minus this, I get 40 days. So I can still operate on it, although it looks like text, but because it is formatted as a date, I can still operate on these dates. Here, if I just type something, it is not possible to operate on this. Are we clear on this? In fact, we will have a full session on dates and time because it is a really fascinating subject. Because dates to manipulate in Excel, yes?
Your Excel sheet seems to be extremely well behaved. I mean, when my friends have put in dates and, for example, when we get these question papers and everything is in Excel,
Yeah,
Everybody seems to have a different format.
yeah, that is
They
because
type one thing and something else shows up in the cell.
I'll tell you what is a major problem is, first of all, when you are working on Excel, you have to go to Windows and select where you are, the country. You know, even sometimes, even in figures, like in India, we use figures as lakhs and thousands, whereas in America, it is millions. So even the comma where it should come, that is determined by your Windows settings. So first of all, if you go to your Windows, you should be able to set that where are you, and accordingly, as I showed to you, this by itself, by default, it showed me the Indian format. But when I said I am in United States, so normally by default you will have United States. So you might have to just go and change this
Okay.
in your
Location. Okay.
in your location in your Windows, not in Excel. This is okay. This is for this particular sheet. I can do any jugglery. But if I want it to be universal and I want my Excel sheet to be really well behaved, then I have to make the changes in my Windows settings. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So when you go to Windows, you have date and time settings, and there you have to define where you are, what is the format in which you want to see stuff, etc., etc. So then whether it is Excel, whether it is any other program, it will pick up from the Windows settings. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, other questions on this?
Yasti, can you convert the text into dates or numbers? Control 1 and
Sorry.
can you convert those text dates into number dates? Otherwise, if someone has typed that in, does that mean that all those dates have to be changed manually, or can you do it?
No, there is a method of doing it. There is something called a paste special, and you can convert it, but that we'll leave it for some other time just now.
Okay.
Yes, but there is a way of doing it. I agree that you don't need to re-enter everything. But this is one mistake which many people make all the time, that they enter the dates as text and then they can't manipulate, which is a very sad thing, because if you can't operate on your cells in Excel or you can't set relationships, then it is of no use. Then you might as well type in Word. There is no need to go to Excel.
But sometimes what Excel does is you want it in text and it converts it into numbers. So then we end up putting an apostrophe and
correct.
then,
That is the only way you can do it.
Okay.
Because when you want this sort of a number, okay, a lot of account numbers, etc., are coming like this article. And you enter, and those preceding zeros are lost. So what you do is you put an apostrophe and then make it. See, here you are telling Excel, boss, this is not a number, this is a text. Because if you say, I want a number, then it will understand you are writing 450 only. No? So whenever you want to force Excel to recognize this as a text and not as a number, I'm not going to operate on it because this is my account number. I'm not going to do plus, minus, multiply on my account number. So therefore, I might want to actually put an apostrophe and force it to think that this is text. This is not numbers. Okay, are we clear on this?
Yes. Thank you.
Any other questions on dates? Dates, as I said, like it's a huge topic. This was just a common mistake that we normally find, and therefore I said we should touch upon it. The third thing today I wanted to show you is something interesting. Very often you have this sort of a situation, correct? You are dividing something by 0. For example, now this is a very simple table. What I have done is sales, quantity, and per unit price. So per unit price is total sales divided by quantity, right? So it is C5 upon D5. Here also it is the same. Obviously, I am going to copy this. And when I copy this, there are no sales and therefore there is no quantity, and therefore you get an error like this, right? You can't divide anything by 0, right?
Yeah.
So how do you get rid of this? Because this looks very shabby in a sheet. Okay, or for example, now here there is something where we are talking of sales divided by quantity. It is not equal to a value. I'll explain this to you also. But wherever there is an error like this, and you don't want to display this error, how do you handle this? So there is something called if error. There is a function called if error. Okay. So let me modify this. What it says is it is C5 divided by D5, correct?
Yeah.
Now I am putting an function called if error. If there is an error when I divide C5 by D5, then what should I do? I should just put a blank. I'll put 2. Okay, sorry. I put my brackets in the wrong place. Now what I have told Excel is if there is an error by doing this operation C5 divided by D5, you just put a space. So now I'll copy this across. So now this looks decent. Okay. Now I can put whatever. I have put a space just now, so this looks blank, but I can do whatever I want. I can say within these quotes, I can say error, or I can say no sales, or whatever I want to put. And I'll copy this down. Are we clear on this?
Yes.
So if there is an error by doing a particular operation, don't show me that there is an error. Show me some error message or just put a blank. So I can just say here also, whatever I want to put, I can put. I can say error, or I can say, what do you want me to say here?
Not applicable. Any.
NA, or please check. Whatever I feel like putting, as long as the formula works, there is no problem. If there is a formula which is giving an error, you can just write whatever text you want to write. Okay. The same thing here. That error was what? Some divide by 0 or something was there. Correct? Here it is not a value. So here again, I'll say if error I'll just put a blank. Again, what was the format? The bracket was okay.
The bracket is before sales and after the inverted commas.
No, this quantity, this bracket has to.
Yeah, extra. Yeah.
So if there is an error, don't show anything. If there is no error, show me the. So this is something which we must understand, that we don't want to show any errors in our spreadsheet. It looks very ugly, and if you are presenting it to people, then it doesn't look neat. So what we will do is we can eliminate the errors, or at least highlight the errors, say either check or NA or something, rather than just a cryptic error saying div/0, something divided by 0 is not allowed, something like that. Okay, so this makes your worksheet look elegant. And then of course you can always have lots of things. You can align it to the right, etc., etc. The third thing you can do also, whenever you are doing this cells naming, you can name your cells. For example, here I have named this cell as sales. I don't want to name this as sales. It is the wrong thing. That's why you are getting an error. I want to call this sales. Okay. So whenever I name this cell, I just come to the top left and just call it whatever name I want. Okay. This is quantity, so I'll call it QTY. Now, anywhere else in my spreadsheet, if I'm going to use this cells, what will I do? I'll say equal to sales divided by QTY. Oh, this is still sales. Sorry. I don't want to call this sales. This should be called sales. Oops. How do I remove this?
Call it television set, TVs.
No, I will not want to. Okay, let me call it total sales for the time being. And total quantity. So wherever I have to reference these two cells, once I have named these cells, wherever I have to reference these cells, why did it not take? Okay, I forgot to press enter there. So now if I say equal to total sales divided by, see, it is highlighting what I am selecting. So anywhere in the spreadsheet now, if I want to reference this cell, I can call it as total sales. So if I am in a different place in the spreadsheet where I don't even see that, I can just say equal to total sales and I will get the value. If I make a change in that, it will change here also. Okay. It is like saying this is equal to that cell, but I don't remember the number of it is C12. So I can say equal to C12 and it should give me the same value. But here I have called it by name equal to total cells. Okay. So naming cells and naming ranges is very useful. Again, this can be a full session on Excel because you can name certain cells, you can name a range also. This range can be named and then you can do a lot of conditional formatting, etc., on this. Okay, I'm back. So if error is very simple, you just say equal to if error and put the condition and then what text you want to put in case there is an error, and you can just reflect it. And the last thing for today's session will be a little brief, but this is the interesting part. Suppose I have a spreadsheet which has repetitive things. For example, now I feel, I'll just remove this. I feel that Delhi has to come in column 11, column 13, column 8, I'm sorry, cell 18 and 20. Now, instead of typing Delhi 4 times, what I can do is I can just type Delhi. What I did first, understand what I did. First of all, let us see the magic. Okay. It is written 4 times, but I typed it only once. So again, let us undo this. Oops. What I decided is that I want a certain value to come in multiple cells, but they are not continuous. If they are continuous, I can just type it and just copy it down, correct?
Yeah.
So if it was a continuous thing, it is very simple. I just write Delhi and then I just keep dragging it and everything becomes. And we have seen this earlier also that we can even do a series, autofill, etc., etc. Remember?
Yeah.
You could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the rest would take care of itself. But if it is a non-continuous thing, what I'm doing is I'm selecting a cell and then I'm going to other cells where I want the same value. I want it here, I want it here, I want it here, I want it here, anywhere in the spreadsheet.
So you're pressing control also?
I'm pressing control and selecting these cells. Okay. So how did I come here? First I came to the first cell and then I said control. I'm keeping control pressed. Control is pressed all the time. Okay. And in the last cell that I visit, now I'm typing whatever I want to type. Suppose I say Delhi. And then instead of pressing enter, I'm pressing control enter. This is very, very useful to enter stuff in a non-continuous way. Are you getting this now?
Yes.
Try it out. It's very simple, but it saves you a whole lot of stuff. So whatever you want to do, so let us say Delhi. I don't have to type it here first. First, I have to select the cells. Okay. I select the cells and then press control continuously. My control is continuously pressed. And in the last cell, I'll write what I want to. And then press control enter and not enter. Okay. This is very useful when it is non-continuous. Okay. Now the same thing holds if I want to make any changes. Now suppose all these are Delhi. So I'll just select again all these 4 and I want to make them New Delhi. Okay, so I don't have to go to each cell and type New Delhi. I just select all those. I just type New Delhi in the last cell. It looks like I'm making a change only in the last cell. But when I say control enter, wow. This is really magical. Are you getting this?
Yep.
Even if we have to do some changes in figures, suppose this 600 has to become 1000. Okay. And this 1000 has to be replicated in multiple places. So I'll select 1000 and I'll select this and I'll select this and I'll select this. And in the last cell, I'll just type 1000 and press control enter. Wherever there was, whatever was selected has now become 1000. Are we clear on this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even as a part of original data entry or as a part of amending something, if you have to amend something, you can still use this. So Kolkata, I made a wrong spelling, or Mumbai, instead of writing Mumbai, I wanted to write Bombay. So first what I'll do is I'll select. Now here I'm modifying one and adding the others. Control enter. Okay. Are we okay with this?
Yep. Good, really good.
This is really very interesting. Now, what happens when you are doing formulas? Now, see, for example, if you have this sort of table and there are 2 tables and I want to write a formula here, how do you do that? A total? I'll do a sum and then I'll copy it, and then I'll do a sum here and I'll copy it here, right?
Yeah.
right now.
Yes.
Now what I'm doing is I am pressing the control key. This, and this. Right?
Okay.
And I just click on auto sum on the top right. You see the auto sum sigma sign?
Yes.
Done. See how easy it is? We
Yeah.
struggle so much. Otherwise, how we do it normally? We put a sum formula here, then we drag it and we copy it here. Then we put a sum formula here, we drag it, copy it here. Correct?
Yeah.
So many steps. And if it is multiple, you can imagine how many steps. But what I did just now, I'll just show it to you again. I just selected whatever I wanted to. I am pressing the control key all the time. Okay. And then I'm just saying auto sum. It just took the sum. Is this neat?
Where did you get the auto sum from? Yes, I didn't see that. It was too.
On the top.
Oh, there. Sorry. Okay, I was looking in the wrong direction. I apologize.
The
Top
band
right.
label.
I was looking on the left. I'm left-handed.
Okay.
A very rare form of person in India.
No, there are many. My son is left-handed.
He had good parents.
So you see how simple it is to do a formula like this. And if you want to change the formula, no issue. What you will do is you will select all these control, and then you can change the formula. And instead of sum, you can write average or whatever you want. Whatever changes you want to make, you can make the changes automatically. So this is another interesting way in which you can do large scale. Here I am showing you only 2 tables, but it could be any number of tables as long as they are systematic and only 4 rows and 4 columns. This columns does not matter because this could be any number of columns. You could have many columns, but the rows have to be the same because your sum will operate only on these. Correct? Are we getting this?
Yes.
Yes.
Very simple. And now the last thing that we have, this is also very interesting. When you are doing a list, so suppose you are having salespersons and you have 4 names and then they could repeat, correct? So when I type A, automatically it will pick up from my existing. But suppose it is not Ashish, and suppose now I want to write somebody else with A, Aslam. I can type. Now when I say A, it doesn't show me A. AS also it doesn't show me, but ASH is common. And therefore it will show me, or if I say ASL, then it will show me the right one. So this is an easy way of doing a data entry. If you have non-contiguous, again these are non-contiguous, but these are coming from your list. You have a list out here. Excel knows that you are manipulating some stuff here. If you are typing in the normal course, no problem. But if you are typing the first 3 characters which match something which has gone before, then it becomes easy. Are we okay with this now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is only one way of doing autocomplete. There is another way also, so that you don't make mistakes. You could make mistakes by typing a wrong spelling, etc. Correct?
Yeah.
So if you have a long list, there is something called Alt and down arrow. Alt and down arrow gives you all that you have entered so far. So you can just select from there and automatically populate it. You don't even have to type anything. Did you get this? Whenever you are in a blank cell, Alt and down arrow, it gives you a list of all that has gone before. And you can select, so then there are no spelling mistakes. And you can imagine this can be very useful if it's a long list, 20 people, but then they keep on repeating one after the other. If you want to write the sales value or something here. Okay. So this is very simple to enter stuff. This is all tricks of data entry where you can do something which is quick and impeccable. There are no mistakes that can happen. Okay. The other possibility is, now this is also something interesting. I had never noticed this. If I right click on this, there is something called pick from drop down list. Again, the same effect. You get a drop down list of whatever has gone before without repetitions, and you can select whatever you want. So whatever suits you, either Alt and down arrow, which gives you the same thing, or you can say right click and pick from drop down list. Okay, and it will give you a drop down list and you can pick any cell from there. Okay.
Yeah.
Now all this is possible only if you have the default settings of Excel. Sometimes people mess around with the default settings. So this is all possible only if you have the default settings, and the default settings are like this. In some cases, somebody will come back and say, oh, it didn't work for me. So what are the default settings? I just wanted to show you so that we are clear on this. You go to File, Options. You come to the Excel options, that is by default, and you go to Advanced. And here you have something called Enable Autocomplete for Cell Values and automatically Flash Fill. You remember Flash Fill, which we had done some time back? I don't know how many of you were present. Flash Fill, it might be worth repeating, but these should be ticked. Then this becomes automatic. Okay. Now suppose we have Flash Fill example. Let us try. Suppose we have different companies here. Anyone remembers Flash Fill? No. See what happens. I just press enter and my entire data is populated. Did you get this?
Yes.
You remember this?
No, I wasn't there. Sorry.
No, you were not there. Okay.
Okay, so you write, you fill in 2 cells and then you drag.
No, you fill in only one cell.
Okay.
You don't even drag. See, the beauty is, Ashish, suppose I say, Ashish works for Amazon.
Okay.
What he has understood by the context, if you are saying Ashish works for Amazon, that means Ashish and Amazon are the variables.
Right.
And works for is the constant. Automatically, he understands Faizan works for Dell, Ranjit works for HP, Harish works for Dell, etc., etc. This is really very, very powerful when you are doing large amounts of data. But again, the point is that they have to be contiguous. If you try doing it here, it won't work. It has to be contiguous.
So you typed it once and you simply said enter.
Again,
Okay.
Ashish likes Amazon.
Okay.
I pressed enter. Okay.
Yeah.
Now the next guy is Pezan, correct?
Yes.
So I'm just typing P and he understands what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
And I'm just pressing enter.
Okay.
Isn't this cool?
Yep. Very cool.
Useful.
Very useful, especially if you have large amounts of data. It is very, very useful. Now let us say, let us put some, this is his surname. So let us put his surname. And so on. Ashish will be again. Okay, I should not have repeated the names, but then it's okay. Incidentally, I know all these people. Okay, it doesn't matter. Any case, all these common ones, I don't think we should get into. Okay, now I am creating an email address. So ashish.kadam@amazon.com. Okay. Now what should happen here if I put Pezan P?
Pezan.channel. Yeah.
I just press enter. Very, very useful. So you can use it to extend, you can use it to even contract. So out of this, suppose I want to come back to this Ashish and Kadam in two different cells, I can do that also. Okay. Incidentally, these are already written, so it doesn't make sense. Are you getting this?
Yes. You don't have to have the columns in the logical order, do you?
Yeah. No. Only thing what you are supposed to have is these have to be continuous.
Okay.
All these. Okay. So then it will understand you're taking this and putting this at the end. Okay. So if I again say like this, Ashish Kadam loves. See, it is not continuous. But now see.
Yeah.
This is like AI. It understands what you are trying to do and it prompts you. If you don't want to do it, fair enough. That is your choice. Okay. The minute you type, now see, now I have said I am not wanting this. Okay. I entered this. Now I have deleted it. So I can say, I can write whatever I want to write.
Okay.
Now again, he understands. You deleted this. Now you are saying hates. So now hate should be the logic. So this is very, very logical. Expecting you to, or rather, you are expecting Excel to understand what you want to do. But if I delete it, and once I say no, then I can again type whatever I want to do. Now, what will you expect if I put Harish?
Harish. Oh my gosh.
See what it did? Alternately.
Alternates.
Hates is. So very intuitive interface. So flash fill, if it doesn't work directly, you can just go to fill and then use flash fill from here also. Okay, or you can say Control E. But if you have enabled flash fill from the options, file, options, advanced, and here you have said automatically flash fills. You see this?
Yeah.
If it is enabled, then automatically things will work very beautifully. Okay.
Yes.
So I think that is all for today. I hope you enjoyed, because
Yes,
these
thank
are very, very small tricks which will enhance your experience of Excel. Any questions?
No, all clear. Thank you.
See, again, remembering it, a lot of people feel that I can't remember all this because it is all discontinuous. You're going from one to the other, etc. What I always feel is whatever you do regularly and whatever you do repetitively, that is what you will implement, and then it will become a part of you. You don't have to remember it at all. So if you do this again and again, you're making lists and you're doing this again and again, then this becomes very easy to handle. But if you're doing it once in a quarter or once in half year, then it doesn't really matter. Then you can do the long way and you can keep on typing and it will not really make a difference. But if you're doing it continuously, you can use these tricks and then they become a part of your Excel experience. Okay, guys, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Good
Thank you,
night.
sir.
Thank you.
Yasni,
Yes.
Yasni,
Yeah.
if you want me to walk you through that presentation I sent you,
Yeah.
we can do that whenever you wish.
Okay. Okay. Sure. If anybody wants to join, how much time will it take?
Half an hour, something like that.
Half an hour.
Yeah, I think. I don't know. It depends on how many questions. Sometimes I say provocative things and people ask a lot of questions, which is a great way of, of sharing the information. But yeah.
Okay, guys. So I must introduce Owen. He's a senior professor.
No.
Worked with
Retired.
Ford, retired senior professor. He's worked with Ford and he has worked with Toyota and a whole lot of interesting companies. If you guys want to join, maybe Owen has one small presentation on how to conduct meetings. And it was very fascinating for me. So he had shared it with me. But if any of you want to continue and listen to him, we'll enjoy the session. If you want to leave, you can easily leave.
Oh, you want me to do it now?
Oh, yes.
Oh, wow.
Are you sleepy?
No. It's I'm not a very good Zoom. How do I get Zoom control? Or you have Zoom control? Oh,
Yeah. Just 1 second. I'll stop recording so that